What you're looking at is the most accessible eagle's nest in the lower United States. Literally 50 feet from a major road in a major metropolitan area. But is it legal to visit here? Stay tuned and I'll tell you. Welcome back to the Steelhead Station, and we're taking you on a little trip across, as you can see, a very developed suburban area of United States. And what I'm about to show you is the location of what may be the most accessible eagle's nest. And as you can see there, those buildings are above there, is actually a veteran's home. This eagle's nest is actually on the property of a home for senior veterans and senior not daycare, but senior adult care facility. And the tree that I'll zoom in here on in Google Earth in a few seconds is where the eagle's nest is located. And you can see there's an old road there by the trees, and those roads aren't really there anymore, and that is a long sidewalk. This used to be a army base facility. This was barracks, and it was sold about a decade ago after sitting abandoned to the state, who turned it into a home for veterans. And the thing was, because it had sat abandoned for decades, 2 eagles had moved into this facility. And it's just around the corner, as you can see, from the Steelhead facilities. And right now, what you're looking at, that big triangle thing, that is the actual eagle's nest. And the female is there sitting on it. As you can see, I'm not the only ones looking out for the eagles. There was multiple people in this parking lot waiting for the male to fly back or to get a glimpse of the female when she popped her head up. And the question is it legal? Because across the street is a school, and it's legal to sit in that parking lot and watch the eagles. But if you cross over and stand on the sidewalk, is it legal? Let's talk about that. The Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act was signed in 1940 and protects eagles from being killed, possessed, taken as pets, having their feathers sold, their eggs or nests as commodities, and as it defines pursue or take as poisoning, shooting at, capturing, molesting, or disturbing. That is the unique thing we're going to discuss right now. The Act defines disturbing as anything that agitates them and creates them a change in their behavior, or a change that would interrupt their normal breeding, feeding, or sheltering habits, or causes injury to the eagles themselves, death to their chicks, or for them to just abandon their nest altogether. And this is a huge fine of up to $100,000 in prison for up to a year for your first offense. A second offense is considered a felony. As I alluded to earlier in the video, this particular nest is on a site that used to be a barracks for a local Air Force base, which was abandoned for almost 15 years before it became a veterans home. And when they were developing the veterans home, there many people were concerned about what would happen to the eagle's nest. It was actually located in a different spot on the property, and substantial things were guaranteed that they would not disturb the nest or the eagles, and they would only build on one side of the property. As the veterans home was built, the funny thing was the birds did actually move their nests. It did actually bother them, they actually moved it closer to what would become a sidewalk that runs parallel to the major road that I showed you and across the street from a major elementary school. And the issue then is these birds are now accessible and viewable from the road. And what now is a violation of the Golden and Bald Eagle Act? As I showed you our friends earlier who were waiting for the birds, this area has become what I call the bird paparazzi central for bald eagles. On a good day when the birds are active and nesting, there could be 20 people in the school parking lot and 4 or 5 across the street next to the sidewalk where they're getting in very close proximity to the nest and actually could be violating the law. And as it turns out, the veterans home made arrangements for this. And when people cross the street and they go across this berm, they will notice that there is multiple signs that say no trespassing beyond this point. You could be in violation of the Golden Eagle and Bald Eagle Act. As you can see right there, that yellow structure right there is a barrier to block people from going down that road, and it has signage on it that says no trespassing nesting area. And people will oftentimes ignore that and go past that position. Now, this woman there had her scope out, and she was being relatively good about leaving the eagles alone. As you can see, I came back an hour later, and the people were still, there was still two cars across the street watching from their cars, which is not a big deal as cars go up and down this road continuously. But you can see if people are on the other side of the road, they could be in violation of the Golden Eagle Act if they're disturbing the birds and cause them to abandon the nest. Now, again, what you're looking at there is the veterans home that was built on this large property that the Eagles had moved into when it was abandoned by the Air Force and kind of went back to nature. And they were at the back of the property and then moved to the front of the property, that second tree up from the road on the road leading out. And going back to people possibly breaking the law, they like to stand in the tree right there closest to the barrier under there and take pictures, about as close as you could possibly get without getting into any kind of trouble from local authorities, at least. But you can also see there's a small road that kind of runs. These are all dirt. These are 3D renderings, so they're a little bit better than it is. But that road leads to back over by the main entrance to the veterans home. And there has been people who have walked down that road and walked right underneath the nest and have had the authorities called on them. While no one has been charged yet, these people could have caused these birds, which have had multiple successful nestings for the past decade, to abandon this nest, and they could have put themselves in danger of going to prison because they just wanted to get too close. Now, if you want to come see this nest, I'm sure it'll be easy for you to figure out where exactly it is. But if you do, remember to look for the bird paparazzi and to give the birds their room. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.